Hello everyone, here is my hot take for you today. Now I want to start by introducing this concept of hot takes to you. Hot takes are reactionary posts. They're made in the heat of the moment. They are meant to get a rise out of people. If they start with the hashtag hot take, that means that the author is aware that they might offend somebody. In fact, they might even be using that to disguise, they might be using that concept of hastiness to disguise something that they mean to be offensive. And then of course I should also point out that sometimes they're just trying to be ironic. And if it ends with "don't at me," all of that is doubly true. All right, so I scoured the internet and I tried to find the worst hot take I possibly could, and this is it. Are you ready? This hot take takes the cake for offending the most groups of people with just 11 words. Valerie Jarrett is of African descent and Iranian born to American parents. She was a dedicated civil servant under the Obama administration. This hot take cost Roseanne her show, as some of you may be aware. All right, take a look at this. This sounds good, right? Kind of sounds good. This example isn't a hot take, but Brian Krasserstein and his brother Ed are professional hot takers. They're what's known as Trump responders, if you've ever heard that term. They basically made a very lucrative career out of putting down President Trump every time he tweets. Now, while I agree with a lot of what they have to say, I actually think that they're part of the problem. Now, the millions of indignant responses we find on the internet likely contributed to getting someone like Roseanne Barr fired from her job, but they've done little to dampen the hot taker-in-chief's approval rating, and they've done even less to make the internet a more civil place. Now, I think most of us have a sense for what's wrong with the internet, but I wanted to introduce this concept of hot takes because I think it neatly encapsulates that wrongness. The internet just turned 30 years old, and my generation, the Xers, have arguably done the most to shape it. Sadly, we've taken something that was once thought of as a utopia and turned it into a big hot take mess. It'll be up to future generations to forge a better internet. Okay, so if our hot take culture is the issue, then what's the solution? I think there are three trains of thought for how people can create a better internet, and I think that they're all horrible, or at least misguided. I call them cold takes, slow takes, and no takes. Okay, so if a hot take is bad, then the opposite of that would be a cold take, right? Suggesting that we should battle injustices on the internet with cold, hard facts and solid reasoning. But we know this usually doesn't work. We live in a post-truth society with millions of sources of conflicting information and a propensity to stay within our own echo chambers. So this is usually where someone will say, okay, then maybe the solution is to expose people to opposing points of view, right? If we did that, then we would understand each other. So one of the reasons why I decided to do this talk in the first place and revisit internet civility is because of a study that was done last year by the Proceedings of the National Academy of Sciences. The study exposed Democrats and Republicans to tweets from the opposing party's point of view. And here's the results. As you can see, they all magically started to get along. No. In fact, they became more entrenched in their ideologies the more posts of opposing viewpoints they were exposed to. Okay, so maybe we just need to slow down and be more civil and more considerate and take time to engage people in meaningful conversation. Unfortunately, our mediums employ algorithms that are designed to get ad revenue over thoughtful interaction. Let's face it, we're wired just like my cat Ami, who can't turn down a shiny new object, just like we can't thumb to a shiny new post. It's worth working towards getting our tech companies to behave better, and it's worth trying to be more thoughtful, but we need to understand that the system is stacked against us. Now, one more thought about slow takes. The truly disenfranchised, marginalized, and downtrodden don't want civility. They need justice. And sometimes, and oftentimes, calls for civility come from a place of privilege and are wielded as a weapon to try to force minorities to assimilate. This is true online just like it has been throughout all of history. Okay, so what about no takes? When we get discouraged about what we see or experience online, our natural inclination might be to disengage, right? Or to look at pictures of cute kittens if that also works for you. We often feel useless, that we're just adding to the clutter, that we're just making things worse. This kind of thinking is natural. We all need a break from the internet every once in a while. But if you've ever had these kinds of thoughts, you're exactly the type of person we need online. It shows that you are self-aware and emotionally invested. It shows that you know that there are parts of the internet that are broken and that you play a role in that brokenness. Okay, so what's the solution here? Last year, when the Parkland school shootings happened, I was intrigued by the Marjory Stoneman Douglas students that became internet stars overnight. They'd turned their trauma into social justice and responded with posts, and people responded with posts like this one. All right, this is not the post that you thought I was going to show you. Here you have a group of Parkland students that are essentially being re-traumatized as a piece of common sense gun legislation is voted down in the Florida legislature. For every inspiring tweet that a Parkland student put out, the top response was usually the most vile, insensitive things you could think of. I was discouraged each time I saw one of these posts, but the Parkland students weren't. They were committed to fight for justice. This is when it occurred to me that the internet doesn't need hot takes, it needs allies. So I've recently had the privilege of running communications for a global group of LGBTQIA people that were fighting against discrimination. It's taught me a lot about what it means to be an ally. In the case of the Parkland post, I committed to sharing and liking the important messages that those students were putting out instead of hot take responses to trolls, even though I felt very called to respond to those trolls. Now, here's where it gets even better. The Parkland students seem to instinctively understand what it means to be an ally. Now, if we're being honest here, the Parkland students, they actually come from a pretty privileged background despite being traumatized. So I was elated when they made common calls with inner city Chicago shooting victims who are mostly African American and who experience even more gun violence than they do. The Parkland students gave up their platforms so that those inner city students could tell their story. One of my favorite allies to the poor is a guy named Mark Horvath. His mission is simple. He enables the homeless to tell their stories, mostly through video, and then he posts them online. Mark is rarely seen or heard in these videos. It's usually just a close-up story of a homeless person and a close-up story from their heart. This is a good lesson for allies. Being a good ally means more than standing up for the marginalized. You have to center their voices if you want to cut through the clutter of the internet. Tell me how many times you've heard a story like this one. I used to think that the gay lifestyle was wrong until I met my new gay neighbors. Now I understand that they're a loving couple just like the rest of us, just the way God intended. Or at least I hope they add that last part in there. Now, scientific studies and common sense, frankly, tell us that when you truly get to know someone different than yourself, it's easier to empathize with their oppression. And we need to give those of opposing views the opportunity to make those deeply personal connections online. Now, I haven't directly addressed the role of the marginalized during this presentation because look at me. I am an older, cisgendered, white gentleman. There aren't too many situations where I'm the victim, which is true. But I want to say this. If you've experienced an injustice and you are willing to and able to do so, Know that there are people out there that have your back. For the rest of us, we need to do this. Here's your mission. All right? The first step is when you feel the itch to hot take, even if you feel righteous, think to yourself, am I the right person to speak to this experience? Or is there another voice I can lift up? 2, the next time you find yourself mindlessly surfing the internet, think to yourself, can I disconnect from the algorithms that have bound me, find the voice of the oppressed, and instead bind myself to them? And 3, when next the internet lets you down because you know it's going to let you down, cue up a kitten meme, but then remember that there's justice work to do in this space and get to it. Thank you.